we're going to finish up the selection edit menu. We have been working through selection edit, and we've gone through all of these tools minus these two right here that are grayed out that involve a target. There's one other tool that involves the target, and that is this sculpting tool, this brush called a track. So I want to just kind of wrap all the target stuff all together. We did mention it at some point, but a target is when you take one STL file and you make it into like a reference, something that the tools can pull to, I guess you can say, meaning if you've got a triangle and then a triangle 5 millimeters away, and that one that's 5 millimeters away is set as a target, and then you run a tool on this first triangle saying a track to it, a line to it, that tool will start to move that triangle over to the reference one. And you'll see what I mean here in a second. So to do this, we have a second rabbit here on the scene, and we're going to set one of them as the target, and then the other one we're going to move it over to it. So we're going to start with our original as the target. And there's two ways that I know of to set one as a target. One is you go into actions and you say set as a target. I never do it that way. I always just click on this little that little magnet there. Now remember, when you do set something as a target, it turns into this see-through color, and if you don't want it to be, you can uncheck the box that says transparent target. It kind of depends on what you're doing and how well you can see what you're doing. I'll leave it that way for now so that you can see things a little bit easier. So then you're going to click on the rabbit that we're going to move. So we're planning to kind of move the rabbit to align to the first one. And I just want to kind of show you that if you only select a part of it and you say align to target, it is going to it's going to use just the triangles that you had selected to do the alignment. And you can see that because it's trying to align only a part of the head to it, it's not doing a very good job. I'm going to hit cancel. If you do the entire thing, it has a better chance. Now these ones align well because these ones are the exact same. Okay, it did not align well. We're going to hit accept, and we're going to do this instead. We're going to, and sometimes it does it, but chances are if you want better alignment, and normally I just do this by default, I don't even try to see how well it does, is you try to get it close, okay? Something like this, where you get it close to the target, and then Control A, and then align to target. And now you can see it's getting right up in there. Notice though that when you come in real close, you can see that something's just a little off, okay? You can change the settings and try to improve that alignment, the iteration. So aligning is one of those things that has to run an algorithm, and then it runs it again and again and again. And so the solve iterations is you telling the software how many times you want it to run that calculation. The error tolerance is saying that between a dot, like a vertex on the vertices on this one, a vertex, or on the one versus the other, how far apart are those? And so if you don't want them to be far apart, drag that down to 0. So now it's saying I want them one on top of the other. And this one's saying, I don't care if it takes me 100 times. And what you can do, this button right here, is you can continually click this button. I really only had to click it once, and you saw how nicely that fell right into place. Now these are exactly the same. And so they're gonna align really well, but you can click on this improve over and over. And if you hit reset, that'll undo everything. So we're gonna hit accept, and I'm gonna uncheck the box here, just so you can see how well that alignment was done, okay? And like I said, it aligned really well because they're the exact same STL file. It does not always align that well. What I want to show you as well is the attract to target. So I'm going to turn off the original for a second, and I'm going to go in and grab part of that ear and use one of the tools that we learned before, and that's the plane cut. One thing I didn't tell you about this plane cut, I did tell you could flip around this. I also wanted to mention that if you pull this way and the transparent, or the side that's getting tossed, is on the wrong side, you can pull the other way, and notice that this way it doesn't do it, this way it does. So it does matter what direction you pull in. So I'm going to hit accept, and that's going to clip the end of that guy's ear off, so you can see right here. And I want to first hop over and show you that sculpting tool that I mentioned. We're going to go over into the sculpting tool, sculpting, and under the attract brush, okay? And just out of curiosity, I'm going to go under the filters. Notice when we chop that off, we're going to recreate the ear. When we chopped that off, it created a face group. I wonder if we restrict or preserve that group, if it'll leave this alone. And see how you can kind of pull it along this, and see how it's recreating the ear because it's attracting it to that target, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to undo, okay, or Control Z. So I want to show you a better way. All right, so that's one way that you can align one object to another, okay? But a different way of doing it is to come in right here and select that area and come over where it says attract to target. And notice, see, last time I didn't actually select it. I'm going to try something different here. Let's grab the whole entire ear and do attract to target. There we go. And so see how that's pulling that whole ear up into there? And if you want, you can play around with these settings. You can pull this over to increase, let me turn on my wireframes. You can increase the resolution, okay, which makes smaller triangles, as we've discussed. You can play around with the regularity that changes things like smoothness. The offset we're not going to mess around with. And I want the fine sharp edges because you notice it's filling in much better, okay? And with that accuracy, you could probably try to find the best spot to put it where it's going to get right up into there. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty dang close. We're going to go ahead and hit accept and turn this one off. All right, clear selection. And I'm going to select all, Control-Shift-G to remove, and then I just want to move this over just a little bit. Oops, there we go. Move this over just a little bit like this because I want to show you that it did a pretty good job, okay? You can see that it really did a pretty good job. The triangles are different, okay? There's more triangles here. But it did a pretty good job of kind of recreating what had been removed, okay? So those are the different tools, and played around with this fun option because I did mention that you can select part of an STL to run the tool, the algorithms, and that attracting is not any different. If you have one STL file and you put a different one on top of it, you select the original one, and you say pull to this one. You can do some fun things. I took a scan of my face. Let me turn this off and come over here. You can see right here, this is a scan of my face from a Bellis 3D scanner. Well, I don't have one of those, but I did it at Lab Day. And I aligned it to the rabbit's face. And I want to show you something. I can make my face the target. I can click on the rabbit, go ahead and type S, and select the parts. I don't really need how about this? I'll just grab it all, anything that my face covers, because I can always go in later and smooth out some things like my ears. I don't need ears, I've got these rabbit ears. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And maybe this. And this is where sometimes going in and turning off the transparent that you can see a little bit better. Okay. And then there's where the fun comes. We say attract to target. You can see how it's pulling the triangles of the bunny out towards my face. And you can see here, let me turn off orthographic view. You can see here that right where my nose is, it doesn't have the same resolution. So I can kick the accuracy up a little bit. And that's going to help get smaller triangles to reproduce my nose just a little bit better. Okay, something like that. I'm going to uncheck that and see if that helps. No, I liked it better with it on. All right, so you can kind of see that. I'm going to hit accept. I'm going to undo this and hide that. So now, if I come through, I'm going to turn off my selection. And then we're going to go into sculpting into robust smooth. And we're just going to smooth around the edges. And of course, it's going to be weird to have your face on a rabbit, but I hope that you understand the concepts behind this, and you can kind of imagine times that you might find that useful. Obviously useful if you're doing something with your kids. But you can see right here now I've got my face sitting on this rabbit. So those are just some of the target tools. Okay, so we have a line to target, we have a tract to target, but then we also have the sculpting brush that pulls one triangle to the target triangles. So hopefully that is kind of opened your mind on what you can do with these targets.